I watched my sister marry my ex-fiancé in a dress I helped pick out. And honestly, I smiled the whole time. Because what nobody in that church knew, not my parents sitting in the front row, not the 200 guests filming everything on their phones, not even Brittany as she floated down that aisle like she'd won the lottery, was that I'd spent the last 6 months making sure this day would destroy her. See, when your own sister sleeps with your fiancé, then gaslights you into thinking you're the dramatic one, then actually steals him and parades it all over Instagram like some kind of victory lap. You don't just get mad. You get even. But here's the thing about revenge, the real kind, not the petty sugar-in-the-gas-tank nonsense. It's about timing. It's about waiting for the exact right moment when everyone's watching, when there's no way to spin it, no way to make you look like the crazy one. And what better moment than a wedding? I'm Kayla, by the way, 28 years old, living in San Antonio, working 60-hour weeks at a tech startup just to avoid going home for the holidays. And this is the story of how I burned my entire family to the ground. Starting with my baby sister's big day. If you think you know where this is going, trust me, you don't. Subscribe now, because what happens next made my mother cry in a Walmart parking lot. But first, let me tell you how we got here. Growing up, Brittany and I weren't just sisters, we were supposed to be best friends. At least, that's what Mom always said. She had this whole vision of us in matching dresses at family dinners, sharing secrets, being each other's bridesmaids. The perfect Thompson daughters. Reality. Brittany hated me from the moment she realized I was good at things she wasn't. I don't mean that in a conceited way. I worked hard, made good grades, got into UT Austin, landed internships. Normal stuff. But to Brittany, every achievement of mine was a personal attack. Every time Dad mentioned my scholarship or Mom bragged about my business degree, I could see something dark flash across her face. She'd smile, sure, but her eyes would go cold. Brittany was the pretty one, though. That's what everyone always said. Charismatic, fun, the life of every party. She could walk into a room and own it. Meanwhile, I was in the corner actually doing the work while she took the credit. And our parents, they ate it up. "Oh, Brittany's just figuring herself out," Mom would say whenever she dropped out of another community college class. "She's creative. She needs freedom." Meanwhile, I was the responsible one, the one who had to have her life together because, well, someone had to, right? Then I met Tyler. God, Tyler, he was different, or at least I thought he was. We met at some boring networking event in downtown Austin. I was exhausted, ready to leave, and he just made me laugh. Stupid dad jokes, terrible puns. He was an architect, had these big dreams about sustainable housing, and when he looked at me, I felt seen. Not as the responsible daughter or the successful sister, just Kayla. We dated for 2 years. He proposed at Barton Springs on this perfect summer night, fireflies everywhere, and I swear I'd never been happier. I brought him home to meet the family officially. Big mistake. Because Brittany saw him, and I watched that look cross her face. The same one she got when I made Dean's List, or when Dad praised my work ethic, or when Mom showed her friends my engagement photos. That look that said, "What's yours should be mine." I just didn't know how far she'd go to take it. The first sign was small, so small I almost missed it. Tyler started working late, like really late. 3-4 times a week he'd text saying he was stuck at the office, working on some eco-home project in Houston. I believed him because, why wouldn't I? We were planning a wedding. We were building a life. Then he started being weird about his phone. Tilting the screen away when I walked by, taking calls in the other room, nothing dramatic, just off, and every time I brought it up he'd get defensive. "You don't trust me," after 2 years. So I backed off, told myself I was being paranoid. Meanwhile, Brittany was suddenly super interested in our relationship, calling me more, asking about Tyler, volunteering to help with wedding stuff. At first, I thought maybe she was finally growing up, being the sister I always wanted. I was such an idiot. It was a Tuesday night, 6 months before the wedding. Tyler was supposedly in Houston again. I was doing laundry in our apartment, his and mine, sorting through the hamper, and I found his white dress shirt with a lipstick stain on the collar. My hands started shaking before my brain even processed it, because I knew that shade. I'd seen that shade. Brittany wore it constantly, this deep crimson red she special ordered from some boutique in Dallas. She literally called it her signature color. I sat on the bathroom floor, holding that shirt for maybe an hour, just staring at it. When Tyler came home around midnight, I was still sitting there. He saw the shirt in my lap and his face went white. Kayla, don't. My voice didn't sound like mine. Just don't lie to me. And he didn't. He broke down right there, tears and everything. Said it happened once at a family barbecue last month when I was visiting my college roommate in Colorado. Said Brittany got drunk, came on to him, told him I didn't appreciate him enough. Said it was a mistake. She kissed me first, he kept saying, like that made it better. I tried to stop it, but you didn't. He was crying, actual tears. I'm so sorry, it meant nothing. Please, Kayla, we can fix this. I looked at him, this man I was supposed to marry, and felt absolutely nothing. Except the need to know one thing. Does Brittany know I know? Tyler's face told me everything. I told her you'd never find out. Of course he did. I called Brittany that night. 2 a.m, didn't care. She answered on the 3rd ring, voice all groggy and fake innocent. Kayla, what's wrong? You slept with Tyler. Silence. Then, and I'll never forget this, she laughed. Actually laughed. Oh my God, he told you. Wow, I mean, it was just one time, sis. You're not seriously making a big deal out of this, are you? I couldn't breathe. Making a big deal? Brittany, you. Look, I was drunk. He was there. You weren't. Her voice shifted, got colder. And honestly, maybe if you paid more attention to him instead of your precious career, he wouldn't have been so available. I hung up. Sat there in the dark with Tyler still crying in the living room, and I broke. Called off the engagement that night. Gave him back the ring. Told him to get out. You know what the worst part was? I thought my family would understand. I drove to my parents' house the next morning, eyes swollen, barely holding it together. Told them everything, every detail. The affair, the lipstick, Brittany's reaction. My dad who I thought would rage, would defend me. He just sighed. Kayla, honey, people make mistakes. Tyler clearly loves you. And Brittany, she's young, she doesn't think. Dad, she slept with my fiancé. Mom put her hand on mine. We're not saying what she did was right, but is this really worth breaking up the family over? It was one night. You'd throw away a marriage over one night. I stared at them. I'm not even married yet. You know what I mean. Mom's voice got that tone, the one that meant I was being difficult. Brittany feels terrible, she called us crying, and Tyler's devastated. Maybe if you all sat down and talked. I stood up so fast my chair fell over. You want me to talk it out with the sister who stabbed me in the back? Don't be dramatic, Dad said. Dramatic. I left, moved out of Austin entirely, got a tiny apartment in San Antonio, threw myself into work at this startup that barely paid rent. Cut everyone off. Stopped answering calls. For a while, I thought distance would help. Then I saw the Instagram post. 3 months after I left, I was scrolling during my lunch break, not even thinking, and there it was, Brittany and Tyler, at some restaurant, his arm around her. Her caption, dinner with this one smiling red. The comments were full of our relatives. So cute. Love you guys. Even Mom commented with heart emojis. I reported it to HR that I needed the rest of the day off. Went home and just screamed into a pillow. But it got worse. 6 months later, almost exactly a year after I'd called off my engagement, Brittany posted again. A photo of her hand, a diamond ring on her finger. My old diamond, I realized, reset into a gaudier band. He proposed. Ring, I can't believe I get to marry my best friend, blessed future wife. Tyler commented, can't wait to spend forever with you, Red. Mom commented, Finally some good news in this family. So happy for you both. I sat there staring at my phone, hands shaking, and something inside me just snapped. Not in a breakdown way. In a clarity way. Because suddenly I realized they weren't going to face consequences. Brittany was going to get everything she stole from me, wrap it in a white dress, and parade it in front of everyone we knew. She'd win. She'd keep winning. Unless I did something about it. If you think this is just about getting even, you're wrong. What I found out next made me question everything I thought I knew about my family. Hit subscribe. You'll want to see how deep this goes. I hired a private investigator the next morning. His name was Marcus. Ran a small firm out of Houston, came recommended from a coworker whose ex-husband had cheated. I met him at a coffee shop in San Antonio, slid an envelope of cash across the table, and said 7 words. I need to know everything about them. Marcus didn't ask questions, just nodded, took the money, and got to work. 2 weeks later, he called me. You're going to want to sit down for this. The affair wasn't one night. It had been going on for months before I found that lipstick stain. Hotel receipts from Corpus Christi, Austin, even one weekend trip to New Orleans that Brittany told our parents was a girls' trip. Text messages between them, hundreds of them plotting how to push me out. Brittany literally wrote, "Once she finds out, she'll leave. She's too proud not to. Then he's all mine." They'd planned it. But Marcus wasn't done. There's something else. Your sister's been moving money, a lot of money. Turns out, Brittany had access to our parents' real estate company accounts. Dad had given it to her years ago, thought it would teach her responsibility. Instead, she'd been creating fake invoices, billing for properties that didn't exist, funneling funds into a personal account in the Cayman Islands. Over $100,000, gone. And your boy Tyler, Marcus pulled out another folder. He's been helping her hide it. Fake contracts, forged signatures. He's an architect. He knows how to make paperwork look legit. I sat there staring at bank statements, transaction records, email chains, evidence of fraud, theft, conspiracy. My baby sister wasn't just a homewrecker. She was a criminal. And Tyler wasn't a victim of temptation. He was an accomplice. "What are you going to do with this?" Marcus asked. I thought about it. Going to the police felt too easy, too private. Brittany would play victim, Tyler would lawyer up, and somehow I'd still end up being the bad guy who ruined everything. No. I wanted them exposed, publicly, humiliatingly. I wanted everyone who'd sided with them, who'd called me dramatic, who'd liked those Instagram posts. I wanted them all to see. "When's the wedding?" Marcus asked, like he could read my mind. I smiled for the first time in months. 4 months, and I just got my invitation. I RSVP'd yes that night. Playing the supportive sister was harder than I thought. I showed up to the bridal shower with a gift and a smile. Sat through Brittany gushing about venue details and honeymoon plans to Bali. Watched Mom fawn over her, Dad write another check for the open bar. "I'm so glad you're here," Brittany whispered to me at one point, squeezing my hand. "I know things were rocky, but family, right?" I squeezed back, always. Inside, I was counting down. The wedding was at this gorgeous historic chapel in the hill country. Brittany had gone all out, $5,000 dress, designer flowers, a string quartet, 200 guests, half of Austin's social scene, plus family from across Texas. She'd even asked me to be her maid of honor. "I want to make things right between us," she'd said over the phone, voice dripping with fake sincerity. "You're my sister. I need you up there with me." What she really needed was the optics, the image of forgiveness, proof that even I had moved on. I said yes. The night before the wedding, I barely slept, just kept going over the plan, checking the equipment. I'd hidden a small microphone near the officiant's podium during the rehearsal, tested it twice. Had all the evidence loaded on my phone, ready to project onto the screen they'd set up for their love story slideshow. Everything had to be perfect. Morning of, I got dressed in my bridesmaid dress, This pale pink thing Brittany had picked out. Did my makeup. Smiled at myself in the mirror. Today, I whispered. The ceremony was beautiful, I'll give her that. Sunlight streaming through stained glass, flowers everywhere, violins playing as guests filed in. Brittany looked stunning walking down that aisle, Dad on her arm, veil trailing behind her like a victory banner. Tyler stood at the altar in his tux, nervous but smiling. I stood to the side with the other bridesmaids, clutching my phone and my bouquet. The officiant went through the standard ceremony. Vows, rings, the whole thing. Then came the part I'd been waiting for. If anyone has reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. The room went silent. I stepped forward. Actually, I said, my voice steady and clear through that hidden microphone, I do. Don't you dare skip ahead. What happens next is exactly why you need to subscribe. Gasps rippled through the chapel. Brittany's head whipped around, her face going from shock to rage in about 2 seconds. Kayla, what are you? Brittany, I walked toward the altar, pulling out my phone. You've always wanted the spotlight. Well, here it is. I tapped the screen. The projector meant for their wedding slideshow flickered to life behind them. First image, text messages, Brittany to Tyler. She's so clueless, this is almost too easy. Tyler, are you sure about this? Brittany, once she finds out, she'll leave. She's too proud not to. Then you're all mine, face blowing a kiss. The chapel erupted. Whispers, gasps, someone's aunt saying, oh my lord, way too loud. That's taken out of context, Brittany shrieked, but I was already swiping to the next slide. Hotel receipts, Corpus Christi, Austin, New Orleans, dates, times, room numbers, all of them while Tyler and I were still engaged. Mom's face in the front row went white. Dad stood up. Kayla, stop this right now. No, I turned to face them. You told me I was being dramatic, that I should forgive and forget, so let's talk about what I should forgive. Next slide, bank statements, our parents' business account, withdrawals, transfers, fake invoices. Brittany's been stealing from you, I said, my voice echoing through the silent chapel. Over $100,000, and Tyler helped her cover it up. Dad grabbed the pew in front of him. What? Lies, Brittany lunged toward me, but the maid of honor caught her arm. She's jealous. She's making this up because she can't stand to see me happy. Really? I pulled up the final image, an email from Brittany to Tyler. Subject, baby on the way, baby bottle. The message, don't worry, he doesn't know it's not his. The Vegas thing stays between us. The room exploded. Tyler's face drained of all color. What? Brittany froze, just completely froze. Oh, didn't he know? I tilted my head. About the pregnancy you've been hiding, or about Marcus from Vegas. You, Brittany's voice cracked. You bitch. Mom started crying. Dad was on his phone, probably calling their lawyer. Guests were recording everything, phones out, this absolute chaos. And Tyler. Tyler just stood there, staring at Brittany like he'd never seen her before. Is it true? He whispered. I didn't stay to watch it fall apart. Security was already moving toward the altar. Dad was yelling about pressing charges. Mom collapsed into a pew, sobbing. Brittany was screaming that I'd ruined her life, that I was a psychopath, that she'd sue me for defamation. But the evidence was already out there, on that screen, being recorded by 200 phones. Going viral in real time. I walked down that aisle, head high, bridesmaid bouquet still in my hand, pushed through the chapel doors into the Texas sunshine. And I breathed. For the first time in a year, I actually breathed. My phone started buzzing before I even reached my car. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Silence on the other end, then a voice I didn't recognize. Male, calm. Kayla Thompson. Yeah. You just made a very powerful enemy, but you also exposed something we've been investigating for months. Check your email. We need to talk. The line went dead. I stood there in the parking lot, heart pounding, as an email notification popped up. Subject: Ray, Thompson Real Estate Fraud Investigation, FBI. Wait. What? If you thought that was the end, you haven't been paying attention. Subscribe right now because part 2 is coming, and trust me, you're going to want to know who else was involved in this. Drop a comment, Team Kayla or did I go too far? And if you're still not subscribed, seriously, what's stopping you? This is just the beginning.